What is up, everybody? My name is Eric McGrew, and today we are going to talk about 5 reasons that you should start your own tree service company. Well, really, I should say 5 reasons you might want to. I don't think it's for everybody, so keep that in mind. So, the number one reason anybody pretty much starts their own business, right, is the freedom that you get from it to make decisions. Be careful that you don't get overly caught up on the freedoms of owning your own tree company or any business for that matter that are like, oh, I'll have all this extra time and I'll be able to go on vacation whenever I want and da 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 da. You still have commitments and all that kind of stuff, but definitely you get to make more decisions about your commitments. You get to make more decisions about your business hours, scheduled work, that kind of stuff, for sure. And if you do it right, a good portion of the income can come to you as well. So that's, owning your own business for that freedom is definitely worth it for sure, without a doubt. So that is probably the biggest reason that I started mine, and I think that you might want to start your own as well. For me, number 2 was definitely safety. When I own the business, I get to choose how fast we go, how hard we push, what safety precautions we take and when, why we take them, and how well we put them into practice, right? Because it's my responsibility, it's my business. I'm ultimately held accountable for that, so I get to make those decisions. Whereas when I worked for other tree service companies, I didn't always feel that we were on the same page safety-wise or whatever. And there's not much I can do about that. Some people say, oh, it's too slow to be safe, or you can't be profitable that way. I disagree, but that's just me. So for me, definitely, I would say that number 2 was, or number 2, maybe I shouldn't do that. Number 2 was being able to control safety factors. And I do think that that's a very important part of tree service work and owning your own business in general. So that is definitely an important factor for me. So we can't avoid the money factor, right? So that's probably the number 3 reason. 3, not 3. That's 4. 3. So for me, yeah, I do make more money. Starting out a business, you sink a lot of money into it, and that's what I've done this past year. But if I can keep up the rhythm I've had, it'll be in the black pretty soon, which is nice. A lot of that depends on how you run your company and what your long-term goals versus your short-term goals and all that stuff is. But you can make a decent living, for sure, running your own tree service company. And that can be either a small tree service company or a large one. Maybe you won't make as much money running a small tree service company as like one of the Bartlett franchises does or whatever. But it's a lot to do with the perspective of what you have on it and what you're looking to get out of it, right? So definitely number 3 behind freedom and safety would be the money factor, just being able to make a decent living a little easier maybe at something that I love to do. Number 4 for me, and this is an important one, but it's definitely not as high on the list as the other 3, is I get to pick what jobs I do or what jobs I don't do. One of the things I really, really dislike about service jobs in general, and this isn't just tree work, it's in general. When I worked in sign installation, when I, let's see, what else have I done? Construction work. I've actually done more service work than that. Pest control, all these things. The thing you didn't get to do was choose what jobs you got. Some salesman went out there and he sold a job, and then you're required to go do it no matter the conditions that it has. One of the things I hate more than anything for me is walking up to a job blind, not knowing what's going to be there and how I have to deal with it. When I make a bid, 3 things go on at that bid. 1, I've already seen the property, which is really nice. 2, I get to decide if it's worth doing or if it's safe or not. I've been subjected to some jobs that I didn't think were as safe as I thought they should be, as far as the conditions and what we were doing with it. And then 3 is I get to adjust the price based on that, right? And I get to hold to that. So when I do a job that makes me uncomfortable or that's super sketchy or whatnot, at least then I can justify it. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting paid well for this, you know? So yeah, definitely a few factors there that say being able to select the jobs you do is a one of the 5 for sure reasons to own your own company. So the 5th is no small matter to me, and that's tree ethics. When you own your own business, you get to choose what kind of focus you put on ethical tree care. And to me, that's a huge thing. It's really one of the biggest. So it's, you know, the reason for that, and we can get into this more later, but very briefly, the reason for that is it makes me feel better about what I'm doing, that I'm actually promoting growth that's healthy of a tree. It helps me educate customers for the future, because if they're educated, then that means they make better decisions and my job becomes safer in the future, even if I don't do the work, but if they have others do it. And then, you know, there's also just the fact that I know that I'm helping my community by doing ethical tree work. So yeah, there's a number of things to consider with all this. I definitely think that tree ethics or ethical tree care options and being able to choose what you do and don't do to trees by owning your own business is really important. So definitely good 5 tips to consider. All right, so there's the 5 reasons for owning your own small tree service company, in my opinion. There's probably others out there that other people enjoy and have thought about. Comment, let me know. I'd like to know why you own your company. I'm gonna throw some feelers out there to some guys on Instagram, see what they say, and see what it is that they choose to opine on why they own their own tree service company. It's an interesting topic, really, because each person has their own take on why you might want to own a tree service company. And I like the 5 reasons that I told you about. I love the freedom. I love the safety control that I have. I love the profit that I'm able to make for my family and myself. I definitely like being able to select jobs based on if I think that they're safe or not and how they get done. And then I definitely think that the ability to make decisions on how trees are treated is important, because ultimately when I own the company and I make those decisions, my good or bad decisions fall upon me. I don't have to ever go to a job and do something and then I can't blame anybody. I can't say, oh, I can't believe that I'm working for this company and we're topping trees, and you know, and feel like I just know it's bad, and yet we're doing it just for a paycheck. So yeah, it's important to me. Safety, same thing. You know, when I walk off the job site at the end of the day, if an accident has occurred or has not occurred, it's on me. I was the one that made the ultimate decision on safety. You know what I mean? So yeah, if I make money or don't, it's on me. I like that. I do. It's hard sometimes, but I like it. And if you're not familiar with some of the challenges, then definitely go check out 5 things you should know before you start a small tree service company. It's episode 2 of season 2, and this is episode 3. So yeah, check that out. Also, don't forget to stop by and check out my favorite arbor supply shop. They don't technically sponsor this podcast. I do it as a favor to them. They have just treated me so well. How can I not promote them, right? So it's Gap Arborist Supply in Gap, Pennsylvania. You can go to gaparboristsupply.com. They have competitive prices. Their staff is knowledgeable. Kyle knows what he's talking about. Ray knows what he's talking about. And they're just stellar guys that want to help out. So go check them out and help a small business continue to grow and to produce quality service for our industry, which we desperately need. Most tree and arborist supply companies that I've dealt with, while not bad companies and they're nice people, a lot of times the person that answers the phone has the least clue possible about the equipment we use in tree climbing and tree service. So not really the people you want to be asking about, strengths of or uses of a particular device, and if they recommend it or not, because they don't even know a lot of times. So definitely check out gaparboristsupply.com, and I'm glad that you stopped by and checked out this podcast. Please don't forget to check out my other podcast. I have a whole season of them, and now I've got 3 episodes into a second season. And then don't forget my YouTube channel. I have a ton of videos over there on tool reviews and principles for tree work and stuff that you might find interesting. And if you go over that way, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscription button, and then beside it, hit the bell, and you'll be notified for every video I put out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast through your podcast distribution site, whatever it is that you're using, iTunes or Google Play or whatever you're using, Spotify. There's a number of places where you can find Elevated Office. So thank you for being here once again, and I will see you guys in the next one.